My name is Tony Seeley, and we're here at the front room in Croydon to watch the Black Men's Consortium performance of Kwame and the end of summer lockdown. Tonight's performance is really brought to you behalf of Croydon BME Forum. It's a forum made up of community organisations that look at issues to do with the black community. We're honoured to be here tonight to really perform this play about black men and mental health. So I hope that you enjoy it, and please contact us by the website, which is the blackmensconsortium.com, and keep in touch and we'll let you know about our next production. Thank you very much.
I found this event online and I loved the synopsis of the program when it said that it's going to look at the black man in lockdown, during lockdown and after lockdown, because I think sometimes the mental health of black men is overlooked, and that motivated me to come. And I believe it is written by black men, performed by black men, so I thought I would love to have an insight as a black woman as well.
I'm looking forward to hearing about the way mental health affects black men individually. I'm also looking forward to being enlightened beyond friends and family. And I'm definitely looking forward to more people learning and being engaged, and also getting a real understanding of how mental health affects men and black men in particular. I find that they seem to be very strong. They have to put on a particular facade, and sometimes some of them just need to be heard. And so I feel this is a very good opportunity for them through theatre to just express themselves and let people know that this is what we go through on a daily basis.
Hello, my name is Wayne Chin and I play Mr. Biggs. Mr. Biggs is a character who is there to supply black market money and help the undergoings of the underworld. I think the importance of productions like this is that within our environment now, there are not many relevant shows which raise issues within poor communities or in black communities. And also, it does also show a different side to the black male, which people are usually used to, which is non-empathetic and emotionless, where this shows black men as humans like everyone else.
So my name's Andrew Brown. I'm the CEO of the Croydon BME Forum, and we are sponsoring this event. Thank you. We're sponsoring this event in conjunction with the Fathers Forum.
Fathers Forum, as you know, is a platform for young men, father figures, father-light, young and young, to come down. It's like a support platform for all fathers to come and support each other, to talk about their mental health and their well-being and how they deal with situations. Where we all come together as one to support each other. We do activities together for everyone to enjoy, just to let their hair down, you know, whatever troubles is happening at home, you come and you just be free. So it's a safe space for us fathers to come together to interact, to get along and to enjoy life, to become better fathers.
My name's Dave. I'm one of the guys behind the front room. I'm really excited to be able to host such a dynamic production. Anything to do with uplifting ourselves in a positive way is always going to be good for me.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming. I represent the Black Men's Consortium. We're a bunch of men who use the creative arts, theatre, drama, video, podcasts, whatever we can get our hands on, to express ourselves about black mental health. And we've been running the Black Men's Consortium for a few years now. We've got a base in Brixton. On Monday evening, there's some flyers on the seats, and we always looking for new members. And this group of men have debated and improvised and created lots of sketches and plays about their experiences of being black and British, particularly within the mental health and criminal justice system. And so what they've got to show you tonight is one of their last plays that they were running during the summer called Kwame and the End of the Summer Lockdown. So the first part, which is our warm-up part, the first thing I'd like you to do is to either turn to your left or the right or in front or behind you and speak to somebody that you don't know and just say hi, welcome, and tell them your name and just a quick 2 second kind of thing. That's how we drop it here. It's a family, community situation. Yeah, it's much better. Much better.
Thank you so much.
Bit faster? Bit faster? And fast as you can. Well done.
Well, Grandad, you know last time I came to one of yours and I was telling you about all the research I've been doing into the food business. My guy who's been mentoring me on the recipes and stuff.
Recipes?
Well, Grandad, listen, basically what it is, I've got everything together now. I've got a spot to let.
Yeah.
I've got an idea for the name, I've got everything, I've got the recipes, the social media, I've got everything. I just need a start opening.
Alright, how much you want?
Granada, it's looking like $5 grand. It's just a little small investment one time because the predicted turnover within the first 3 months is £12,000. So that means you're only getting £5,000 back.
Alright. I told you.
It's a good idea, trust me.
Come check me on come check me Saturday, yeah?
Saturday?
Yeah, Saturday. I'll have money for you on Saturday, yeah?
What time on Saturday?
Anytime, we that yard, man. Yeah?
Alright, come Saturday morning, yeah?
Yeah. Bring some breakfast with you, yeah? McDonald's, you know?
Alright.
Yeah? No. Bring some, I can't sausage.
Yeah, I'll bring it. I'll bring that. Alright, see you later.
Yeah?
So where you gonna get £5,000 from?
Jesus, give this month again. What's wrong with you, man?
Where you gonna get from?
Love me, no man. The business.
Dad can't find out about what?
What about what?
You tell me.
We don't know what you're talking about.
Well, you're having a conversation with my son about something.
Come on, let's just look at business and advice, man. You know.
So what advice are you giving my son now?
Dad.
What advice are you giving my son now? What's going on?
Dad, I got an idea for a business. I came to Granddad just to ask him to get some advice and potentially, like, I just need help starting up and I thought Granddad could help, so I asked him.
Yes, they asked me for some money.
I asked him for some money, but not just for me to spend.
How much?
Not just to spend, just £5,000.
Yes, and come to me for the money.
How much?
Dad, £5,000.
Are you mad?
Wait.
Who are you talking to like
Are
that?
you mad?
Who are you talking to
I
like
talk to you.
I'm your father. I'm the manners and respect.
You're in my house.
Oi, Dad,
Oh, you have to use that again.
You can't use that again.
You have to use that again. Sure.
Now you're asking him. He's got no right to promise you falsehoods.
That's
My
nice.
right.
That'd be nice.
You ain't even got 50 quid. That's $5 grand. How dare you?
I soon
Go on, go on.
So, this argument with my son started a long time ago, back in the 70s. Fell in love with this woman. And this woman's name was, yes, you guessed it, Doris. Now, Doris was a white woman. And back in them days, black man couldn't do them things there, you know. And unfortunately, he found me one morning in bed with Doris. Broke his little heart and he hadn't forgotten me. And he blames me for the death of his mother. But his mum, she didn't have no time for me. Every minute she'd be at church. When it comes to a little something, she said, no, you're gonna get it last week. Where you want it again from? Why are you having to make it so strong? Ah, Jesus. Aye, and the young man don't believe it true. just don't know. That's why he hates me so much.
Stop that! Hate? Hate? When I was a kid, all you tell me about, be seen and not heard, do this, do that. My poor mother worked 4 jobs, and all you did was gamble the money away. And to top it all, when my mother worshipped the ground that you walked on, you go and sleep with not just a woman from our culture, a white woman, and you broke her bloody heart. And even on her deathbed, what'd she say to me? Look after your father. After what he did to you, look after my father. Do you know what? I wish it was you that was dead and my mother was alive, because you did the ultimate betrayal by sleeping with a white woman! And then you want to ruin my life and you ruin my son too! Oh! Oh, listen, son. You're out of bloody order!
Who you pointing his finger to?
You!
Who you pointing to?
Because you're in my house!
More than me,
Oh, God! That's what you did before! Look at one, scar me again!
Project, you know what I mean? I just need this money, so I might have reacted a bit like, yo, fuck you, man, you're gonna have roads forever, whatever, mate, just forget it.
I tell you what, you ready to talk, right?
That's what I'm saying. I just need that number.
I know.
You told me that number, or the guy, whatever.
Trust me.
Can we go and see him, please?
$5 grand, just like that.
Whoa. You need this man to
What man? Mr. Big, you know what right?
You don't have to do that, man!
Why is he acting like this?
What's your problem?
This. I know what you want. Money. He wants money. Everybody wants money from me. Hey, you don't speak. I know these streets. And I know the word. And if you want money, I'm the man. And understand, if you don't pay me back. But he said, don't talk. These young people have no respect. George, get my bag. This bag is to go to Mr. H. In a week, there will be a knock at your door, and it will be your money.
My fault.
Son, it's Dad.
Dad, alright, listen, Dad. I've just been.
Dad.
Anyway, I can't really get into it right now, but I'm going through some madness.
Son, please. I need to talk to you, please.
Dad, you sound like a brat.
Please, don't put me on hold, please.
Sorry.
Don't put me on hold, I need to talk to you, please. Don't put me on hold!
Hello?
Where's my money?
Wait, Mr. Biggs.
Don't answer me back!
No.
I said to you, where's my money?
Listen, I left your place and I'm not gonna lie, it felt like a settle. There was
I'm sorry, what?
2 guys waiting for me. It's like,
Listen
it's like
to me, little boy.
It's like they knew I was.
I don't play around. Don't answer me back. My money or your kneecaps.
They've got the bag.
What are you actually apologising for? You're an arrogant pig. That's what you are.
If I'm a pig, you don't take after me then. Because that must make you a ham. Oh, pig. You're still not really.
You know what? There's many times when I wish you just was not my father.
You what? Say what?
I wish you weren't my father. But you know what? I bastard!
Consequences.
Bloody stairs. What the heck is all this mess? Oh shit! Dad! Dad! Dad, wake up! Dad! I don't know what happened. I went upstairs, I come back and the place is a mess and he's just like this. Did you call the ambulance? Did you call the ambulance? Oh, God.
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
Oh, it wasn't my fault.
You destroyed your family's life.
For food.
It wasn't my fault.
Food.
It's all your fault.
It's not my fault.
It's all your fault.
It's all been blown out of proportion by you.
Oh, what's gonna happen to your child now?
You're lost.
Look, you have a choice. You have a choice.
No way, choice. Nothing in your life ever works.
You gonna cry. You're gonna cry.
You're useless.
You killed your granddad.
You done these for? Stand up.
This is
You're
all
man.
your
Man up.
fault.
Man up.
Granddad.
You're the reason why these problems are happening.
You killed your granddad. You killed your granddad.
I can't cope. Please bring it back.
So, Kwame here has been suffering from some mental illness recently. We have been prescribing him some sertraline and other mood medications to try to help, strengthen him back from the broken place where he's been.
Okay, let me just check the notes.
Yeah.
Yeah, fine. Yes, I agree. So, Kwame, here's your medication for you.
What am I supposed to do?
Well, take it. This will help you to be relaxed and that place of mind.
I just told your colleague that I'm not feeling like myself.
Okay.
I don't think it's going to help.
And why do you think that? It's worked for you. It's worked before. It works for you.
Yeah, but it's just, I don't feel like myself.
Right, so what I've noticed from the records I've taken, he's clearly not taking his medication as he
Definitely
should be.
non-compliant with his medication.
I think we need to do the usual.
Yeah, I think. What's his current section?
Well, we can change that. We can change it. I've already made a phone call, so it's quite possible.
Is there space at Mosley?
We'll find in space. We'll find in space. That's not a problem.
Okay. All right. Did you make the phone call?
Well, I'm just waiting for you to sign it off, sir.
Yes, certainly. Okay.
There you go.
It's okay. We have our audience here. These guys will. Yeah.
Just relax, Kwame.
Just relax.
We're here to help you.
No need to show any aggression.
Aggression.
You've been
Please
Please calm down, sir.
Wait,
What?
nah, you're chatting rubbish. You're chatting rubbish. What
What
am I
are
doing?
you struggling?
Stabilize him.
Okay,
Stabilize him.
I'll take them. Who are you?
You don't have to, but anybody would like to share what you were talking about? I'm sure other people would be really keen just to know what you were talking about. Yes, anybody?
What myself and Dan were talking about is the dynamics between the family, the issue where it started. So the issue started from the beginning between the father and the son, between the granddad and his son. So obviously his father, if they had sorted out the issue from the beginning, then and spoke to each other in terms of the issue within the household, then that would have obviously eased what was going on in the future in his life. Because of the fact that they didn't talk about the issue, obviously the son doesn't know about the issue between his granddad and his dad. Obviously his granddad attacking his, or should I say disciplined his son, and so forth. So it's a lack of communication between their family household, and as I was saying to Diane, it's what we as men don't do. We don't talk about issues. We don't deal with issues there and then. We keep it within ourselves, and then we try and find an alternative to take away that issue, but then we don't, because it comes up later on. As a famous saying that that everyone that I know has always said, but everything dark will always come to light. So far as you can see, obviously the son didn't know about the issue, came to light, and then it just erupted the whole family dynamic and etc. etc.
First off, Haley was talking to her daughter for us to see what they identified in there, which I thought was really brilliant. So applause to yourself for that. It's alright. And there was a number of I wouldn't say issues, but there's a number of topics that was identified throughout. So firstly, like Manny pointed out, there was a relation between granddad and grandson that we were first introduced to, and then later on, the relationship between granddad and father. And it was granddad making up for his, I wouldn't say bad, but his lack thereof fathering with son by trying to do that with the grandson. And the son, or the dad of the grandson, sounds like Rubik's Cube, inadvertently thinks that he's doing a better job of his dad to make up for what he went through, but is literally, from the looks of the grandson, is a carbon copy of his dad, which he's not used to, because that's not the granddad he knows. So that was the first one, which I thought was pretty brilliant, where they explored that sort of avenue. The next one, albeit we see in the movies all the time, around staring down the wrong direction for funds to fulfill the dream. But one thing I think that may have gone amiss from a lot of people is, amongst the bad friends, one was warning him against going and taking the funds because of the avenue that it could go down in. And even with all of that, I want to applaud the gentleman that did the Irish accent, because that ain't easy. That is not easy at all in this entirety. And then the next issue at hand as well, which a lot of people may have observed, is when it comes to black people and mental health. So the very last scene there, where just his skepticism around the medication and such, the institution already wrote him off and decided to go put him somewhere else. And just from certain key lines that the actor said there, is like, why are you being aggressive? He wasn't being aggressive. But this is something that we observe in the media all the time, and then straight away, tried to jab him a few times, weren't working, built on the oxtail, so you weren't taking him down. But there's a number of key issues that went through, and we thought it was quite brilliant in that sense.
Definitely. So Greg, who I was speaking to, kindly listened to me. I related to a lot of the story. It's happened within my own family. I'm the product of a black father and a white mother, and that has created resentment within our family. I've been detained under the Mental Health Act twice, so that particularly resonated with me. And because, as I was saying to Greg, they don't tend to listen, they make decisions for you, and they impose and they judge too quickly without getting to know you, to take that time as to what the best care can be, because I believe a lot of people could be treated at home as well. And I do have to say, though, that there is a lot of talk about the Mental Health Act being reformed, because rightfully people in the know are disturbed by the fact that statistically black men are more likely to be detained under the Mental Health Act. And my interpretation of what happened between Kwame and his grandfather did resonate with me as well, because it often happens when there's a family conflict, people take sides. Whereas some people in Kwame's position may have tried to reconcile his father with his grandfather. And then when the grandfather died and then the father was ill with cancer, Kwame chose not to support his father, so there was nobody there for him when he fell ill. So I thought that the story really showed well how actions have consequences.
To the second section of our event tonight. So you've just seen the show. Now it's really up to you to try to find some alternatives. Because obviously there's some problems here in this narrative. There's some frustrations. There's some blockages. There's all kinds of things going on within the narrative of this drama. And this is the moment of the show where it's over to you. It really is over to you. And how that's going to work is that we're looking for you to come up with some alternatives. So what I'd like you to do now is to turn to your neighbour and think of one thing out of one of the scenes that are really important to you. Any one of the scenes. One thing that you feel that if it was you in that scene, you would have done something differently to bring out a different outcome. So I just want you to have that conversation and come up with one idea for any of the scenes that we've seen tonight. One idea that you feel, if it was me, this is what I would have done instead of what happened in the original play. I'd like you to turn to your neighbour and give them that idea. They may have another idea for the same scene or a different And so that's what we want to do, is to rerun that scene for you in the role that you would like to play, to see how, if anything, there may be some change. Now, it may just be one little tactic, it may be a strategy that you implement in that scene, but the learning that we can get from tonight would be amazing, because we're all going to get some insights about how we can all tackle some of these issues that we all understand and relate and connect and identify with tonight.
I'd like to see the scene between Grandad and Dad.
The scene between Grandad and Dad?
Where they're fighting and Kwame is in the middle.
Where they're fighting and Kwame's in the middle. Okay, that's one scene. Yep, we got that. Yes, sir.
I would like to see the scene that's not shown, where Grandad, where the son saw Grandad cheating with the white lady.
Okay, the scene with Grandad. See that? Yeah. Where would you like to take the scene from?
So it was at the point where he was trying to talk to his son and he said no, like, you know, I don't want to hear anything.
Sure. From that moment on. Are we ready? Let's stand by. Let's count our in. 1, 2, 3. Action.
Where did you get that scar from on your back?
Yeah, don't worry about it.
No, but what is that on your back?
It's something that's happened in the
Yeah,
past.
but you said something about Grandad, talking about he did that to your back. You told me you fell.
Yeah, but maybe I did feel, and Granddad was there to help me up and took me to the hospital and stuff. They don't just...
Well, yeah, but you lied to me.
Listen, let's not talk about Granddad.
No, do you know what, Lara? It's all right. I don't even want to talk about it. I don't even want to talk about it. I'm off.
Granddad. No, listen, son, please.
I don't even want to talk about it.
Can we just talk about what happened? Listen, I apologise that you saw what you saw, but I want to talk about us. Just sit down, please, son. Just give me 2 minutes, please. Listen, first and foremost, what happened, what you saw between me and my dad, you shouldn't have seen, and I profusely apologise for that. However, I just want to make sure that how he raised me the wrong way is not overflowing to you. And he should be promising you things like £5,000, which he cannot commit to.
Yeah, but I feel like because you're never around, I can't come to you and ask you. I have a relationship with Grandad because we talk, we get on, and you're not here. Grandad's always here. Yeah, so when you're not here, when Grandad's always here, he's always the person that I'll come to and I see. When you're not here, I ain't going to talk to. So I would come to you if you was around, but you're not around.
Son, I try and be around as much as I can, but I've got to work, and I've got to run 4 jobs to make sure that you've got the clothes on your back, there's food in the kitchen, the house is paid for.
I understand all that, Dad. I understand all the pressures, but we need to try and do something about that.
Well, I like the word you say "we" because Mum, as you know, went off, and so it was just me to raise you and take care of Granddad because Grandma passed away. So as much as I'm not there for you, it's not because I don't want to be there for you, it's because I'm just busy trying to make sure that this house and everyone is provided for. And if you say we, maybe we could all chip in and help each other.
All right, so can we sit down and talk then? Me, you, and Grandad.
Most definitely, son. That's something I would really love to do that meeting. I'll make time. We could sit around at dinner on a Sunday and just talk and stuff.
Who's cooking?
Who's cooking? Yeah.
How did that go? Did that go according to what you had your intentions? Did it work out in terms of your strategies and the plan that you had? Did it work out the way that you wanted it to go?
Yeah, because what I wanted to it was like when Emmanuel was talking about non-communication, and I think that's something that we don't do in families. Yeah. We don't communicate, we don't talk. So when we don't, a lot of things get lost a lot of people are not open, and then that causes other people to shut down and then start going off and trying to
Yeah, like the chipping in part.
Yeah.
Asking people to chip in because that's why Dad's filming, because he's paying for Granddad and Kwame.
Yeah.
So that means that you can see his tension ease straight away just by suggesting that we all contribute towards the household instead of just Dad.
Yeah.
So you managed to get the kind of family to come together and sit down and talk.
Yeah. That was the aim.
I thought the best thing you did there was just cooking food. Food is a beautiful way for people to get together and have a conversation.
Can we give her a round of applause? Thank you.
So, based on these records, you know, he's telling me that he's not taking his medication, he's telling me it's not working. What do you consider? Should we go forward with trying to put him back into the institute? Yeah? Would you please sign up for me?
Actually, maybe we should put him into therapy.
Okay.
But he should pay off.
Right. Even though he's on universal credit, we should still make him pay.
It was fun remaking the seed, I guess. Yeah.
Did you, the idea that you had, did you fully play that out? Was there anything missing with your idea?
Well, I planned not to give him the pill.
Okay.
Yeah, so we did just go to therapy.
I do feel like it was worse. I feel like our plan A was that we wasn't going to take the pill, and that there was going to be a bit more options for Kwame rather than the standard institute. Because what we spoke about was the standard institution of black men always being prescribed medication, not given other options to have therapy or to speak about it, or just any other options in general. So that's the route that we was originally going down. And I felt like, even though Kwame was still asking for other means, obviously he had financial issues as well, so he wasn't able to pay for other therapies that was recommended. He wasn't given any other options other than the standard institution, which is out currently.
The doctor was the major problem in that. The second doctor. From the start, the second doctor didn't even give it an opportunity. So you obviously got open-ended and closed-ended questions. They were all closed-ended in a negative direction, which all pointed towards his demise. And there was no, from the beginning, there was no other option for you actually to get out of that situation. So really, from the time you walked through that door, that was going to be the outcome. Because you know you didn't take the pills. He knows that you didn't take the pills. So from the time you walk through that door, you've actually accepted you're going to get sentenced. I think that doctor could have, okay, well, even if the doctor doesn't agree, it's, well, what do you do? You know, instead of, so he's not taking them. Just, you know, it's just ticking boxes, basically. You know, doing your 9 to 5. You tick boxes, yeah, sorry, see what I mean?
And then go to the pub.
And then, yeah, and then, you know, your day's done. That is someone's life. So I kind of just think it was very negatively driven from the outset of the second doctor, which is the advisory from what it looked like.
It's quite interesting, the dynamic that she is a youth. I saw her as a trainee, and you're the one that she comes, you know, if you're a trainee doctor and you've got another one saying, well, you know, this is what we would do usually, like you say, closed-ended questions, and then she thought, oh, well, actually, yeah, maybe that's what we should be doing. Not saying that that's what you were doing, Mia, but that's what I saw in that, where she wanted to go, but no, okay, yeah, because I don't want to be penalised, I don't want to be looked like I'm incompetent, and so you were channeling it from a backward kind of aggressiveness, but she was one that you have to sign off on it though.
And there's been many of us who have been put in similar situations where we don't want to risk what's at stake if we don't follow protocol, certainly with higher status people. Unless some of us do really want to challenge and make that decision to, no, it's unacceptable. And not all of us can do that at different times, depending on what we've got at stake and what the implications are with our actions within those kind of situations. This is between Grandad. Yes?
Oh, yeah.
Yes? Clear? You with us?
We venture.
Yeah. So let's count them in. 1, 2, 3, action!
How was it for you, darling? Was it alright? I feel bad. For what? Because we shouldn't have done this. You know, it's the saying, once you have black, you never go back. Oh dear, what have I done?
So excited, I got an A star. Granddad, what the?
Come, Sarah says. Sarah says, son.
Who is that?
Ask the cleaning lady. Don't say that to him. She's making up the bed. Let me explain. No. She's making up the bed, son. We need to talk about your thing.
Why is she in my mum's bed?
She's the cleaner. I told you. Sorry, let me just explain to you. No, leave it to me. My son asked you that. You need to explain to him. No, let him know what's going on.
Stay with it, Dad. Dad.
That's son. What to me?
No. Why is she
Winston?
in my mum's bed?
Winston?
Don't touch me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me explain to you. Your dad,
Who are you?
Your dad.
Let him explain. Let him explain.
Your dad and your mum.
Sorry.
Are no longer together.
Don't say that! Don't say that! I'm telling the truth! Why you say that?
You have to tell the truth.
Well, let me say it! I'm the father!
You tell him.
I'm the father! Just because you got my dick doesn't mean that you have
Son. Explain to him that you guys are no longer together.
Just wait! Please!
Son, she's in the bed because she's mine. She's mine.
You're married to my mum.
The marriage is over. Your mum spent all day at church. She dealt with her sisters. And I'm sorry you had to find out this way.
How can you?
I still love your mum. Don't get me wrong. I love your mum. Your mum's a beautiful woman.
How can you do this to my mum? Bring a loving lady, a white woman, into my house in my
I am
mum's
so sorry.
bed? Get out!
I'm so sorry.
Get out!
Don't talk
Get out!
Don't talk to her.
Get out! I hate you! Get out! Get out!
Let us see the response from her. Let us see the response.
You see what I do? Don't touch me. Get up. Don't touch me.
Come and sit down.
I think you should leave.
Babe, sit
Come
down.
out my house.
Babe,
Come on. Don't beg me nothing.
Babe, sit
Don't
down.
beg me nothing.
Babe, sit down.
My son.
Babe,
My son. I need to go see my son. Get dressed and get out my house.
babe, come back.
Get dressed and get out my house.
Babe, come and sit down.
Get dressed and come out my house.
Babe,
No!
come and sit down.
Sit down, babe.
And Dad sits down.
Don't touch me. Chuck, we need to explain to your son. Let me explain to
Louder for the audience.
Let me explain to your son.
son! Let me explain to him.
We need to explain to your son your situation with your wife and how me and you got together.
Listen, this is
Will you do that for me, babe?
This is the 1970s. Racism is strong out there. They don't like black people together like you and I. Look, he's not black.
Oh yeah, she's right.
Thank you.
It's the 70s. They don't like interracial couples. You know, a few years ago, there was no blacks, no dogs, no Irish. People used to spit on our children. You know, I could put myself
Do you
through that.
love me for me, or do you want us to be separated
Why
in
you-
front of everybody?
Why do you have to use the L word for?
Because do you love me?
No, it's just sex.
That is the issue right there. He's just jeopardized his whole family for just
sex.
It wasn't even 60 seconds.
Thank you very much. The idea that he had, tell us a little bit about your idea compared to how the scene went for you.
Okay, my idea was more of depicting the conversation between granddad and the son when the incident did take place. I think if there's a lack of understanding, then the son will just be traumatized and think, as he said, this is what you've done to my mum. But that's lack of understanding. Because if son understood that, well, granddad or dad and mum has tried to work things out and they're actually separated. This is something I've experienced myself. Where dad and mum are actually separated, but they're just cohabiting to raise son. Then son will get a better understanding that actually dad could do his thing and mum could do her thing, but there's an understanding there. So now the relationship still continues because the link is still there. The link is split, so dad now thinks, son now thinks he has to be a certain way to compensate for Kwame. There's a broken bridge there, but then granddad and Kwame then build a relationship where he's actually able to communicate directly. But there's somebody's missed out of the whole picture, which is the dad. That's my point.
Many of them tonight, because we don't know if anything that we've seen or learned tonight that may inspire and motivate others in similar situations to try out something. So I want you to give yourselves a big round of applause.
Good evening, everyone. My name's Rob. My name's Rob. I've been with this group now for over a year. I first came into contact with it through a WhatsApp advert, and it said, come down and do drama and integrate with fellow black men. I went down just to watch, and after half an hour they invited me into their session, and we were doing abstract work, which involves playing various characters, animals, and I left the evening transfixed into what I brought myself into in the first place. But I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I continue to come down there ever since. So, yeah, that's my introduction to it. But I hope you enjoyed tonight's show, and I'll pass you over to my next brethren.
Good evening, my name's Keith. First and foremost, thank you very much for coming down this evening to watch our production. And it has a kind of twist. He has a bit of humour, but as you well know, that there is a serious side to it. I've been part of the BMC for just over 2 years now. And what attracted me to this drama workshop was I've been a professional actor for many, many years. And a lot of the work I've done is either on TV and just like role plays or stuff out of a book. But what attracted me to BMC is that I've got a personal, unfortunate experience of suicide in my family. A young nephew who passed away at a very young age, and we don't talk about suicide because it's a kind of taboo subject. But we do with this group because we touch on subjects which need to be spoken about amongst black men, and not just black men, but black people in general. So it's not just about black men, but however, we are a bunch of men that are talking about subjects which men don't talk about in general. We're trying to break down that barrier and put on shows like this in order for people to discuss and talk and have debates. So this is the reason why I'm still here, and I thoroughly enjoy performing for the audience. I mean, for last year, unfortunately, because COVID kicked in, it didn't stop us. Zoom was invented, and me being a dinosaur, as some people might say down the end there, I understood how Zoom works. So we managed to put on some shows via Zoom, which was a challenge, but it was a first, and we achieved it. And now we're back actually in the community, performing for you guys, and hopefully to spread the word about subjects which aren't spoken about, depression, mental health affects 1 in 3 people, regardless of your background, your culture, whether you're rich or poor. And we need to talk about these things more openly, especially to our children and our grandchildren, to hopefully help each other. And if we can help anybody else in the audience or people further afield, then we have done our job, and I thoroughly enjoy doing what I do. On that note, I'm going to pass it to my father, Lloyd.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Lloyd. First of all, I want to thank Marisha for coming. Stand up, Marisha. Yeah, she's always in my house, you know. Marisha. I want to thank Kelly as well. Stand up, Kelly. You know. I want to thank Yvette. You can stand up, Yvette, as well. Yeah. I love what you Brenda, who's on the back. Yeah. Thank you for your support and coming. Like Keith, I endorse everything that Keith has mentioned. I'm a mental health practitioner. I work in mental health. I work in what's called a high dependency rehab unit. So a lot of the input you see has come from myself and Keith and Shaka, who will introduce himself later on. I'm all thing pro black mental health, so I'm very one for black men going down the therapeutic route, speaking about their ills, talking about the problems, going to seek a counsellor, not just any counsellor, but a counsellor who looks like us, who can relate to us, who understand the issue that's having an impact on us. So the criminal justice system, drugs, relationships, you name it, we have an outlet where we can talk. I've been doing the drama now for about 3 years, on and off. So actually, there's actually more guys than us. We have a cohort of about 20 actors from different parts of the world. So we have a guy from Birmingham, you know, Trevor, who can't be with us today, but I'd just like to acknowledge him. And we have Macy, who comes all the way, who's originally from Barnsley, but he's here tonight. Yeah, he's a Croydonian, as you just told me. Thank you for attending our show. I hand you over to Mr. Biggs.
Well, I know everybody wants me to speak Irish, but unfortunately I won't. My name is Wayne Chin. Like everyone else, I'm part of this group. This group is like, for me, a place where it's a safe space where you can discuss the issues which a lot of people growing up have not felt the confidence to have conversations around with other black people. I myself suffer from suicidal ideation, anxiety and depression. I've also been homeless for 7 years. For me, this group has helped me to deal with my own personal issues and realize that what manifests within my head, I'm not alone. It's just that the way that our environment is, most of us black males feel like that you cannot express yourself in a way where it's seen valid to acknowledge your emotion and where you're coming from and how it develops within you as a human being. Being part of this group makes me as an individual face my emotions, face my fears. Being in a group of black men who've gone across the same roads that I've been across reinforces the strength to try to become better. And I believe within the shows that we're doing, by bringing awareness to the male emotional psyche, or what happens inside of a black man where most people choose to, I wouldn't say willfully, but unwillfully ignore that we have emotions, that we do suffer from the same things that every other human being suffers from, only because of the way that social media and films have projected us as human beings. Do people believe that we don't want to cry, we don't want to have feelings, or that we shouldn't deal with our feelings? And being in this group and sitting down and debating and coming up with plays like this is like, it's my new drug, it's my new therapy. So if there's any men out there who wish to tell stories about their life, so we can then create more stories about what black men go through, please come and join this group. And yes, I'll pass it on to the new Croydonian.
Hi guys, my name is Macy. I come from Barnsley, which is a small town in Yorkshire. It's very backwards. It's like, if you visited there, you'd think you were like 20 years ago, but yeah, it's a very backwards town. But yeah, I moved to London, Croydon, a couple of years ago. Yeah. And this is home for me now. But this group has definitely, I first joined this group to try and improve as an actor. I wasn't really focused too much on the mental health side, but since joining, I'm more focused on the mental health side than I am the acting. Lost 3 friends to suicide, all under 25, all black or mixed race. And there's just some things that I still can't understand because it's just crazy to me, but this group helps to just express yourself. Tony runs this group on a Monday, so it's like, it feels like training almost, like, it's like work out in the gym, you do whatever, but after leaving this group, I feel so light. I feel like I've just ventilated just too much stuff. Like, I don't know who else I would tell that to. Everybody's got a story to tell, and it's just fun mixed in with dealing with serious things that people are going through, creating new things, doing workshops, just making sounds, just expression, which is really important, which I didn't really have before this. Tony's always got a little buffet on as well, so always got a few snacks. But yeah, but no, it's definitely a privilege to be a part of this group. It's definitely helped me improve as an actor. It's definitely improved my mental health. It's definitely improved the way I can speak to people, especially my black friends, mixed race friends, friends who've just got too much bravado to even bring some certain things up. So it's just definitely opened a new space for me, and I'm very grateful for everybody who's come out tonight to watch. I'm grateful for everybody who's on stage right now, and I definitely encourage anybody who's thinking about joining some kind of group, definitely come through, or even if not, just find a group, find somewhere you can just do what we do. And that doesn't mean putting on a play, putting on a show. It doesn't have to do that. I mean, every single Monday when we link up, we just talk. We do a check-in, find out where people are at. It's just nice to tell people what you've been doing. You can upsell yourself, or you can do it. You had a good week. Yeah, I've been doing this, and that, or you can just talk about an actual problem that you've got without the fear of being judged because of what we're all here for. There's certain things that I might not tell certain members, even in my family, I might not tell them because I don't want them to worry. Whereas in this group, I feel like everybody's on the same level, and it just makes it a lot easier. And yeah, I'm just very grateful to be a part of this. I wasn't actually supposed to play Kwame tonight. The guy who was supposed to play Kwame ran me last night. When I wasn't in a good place really, either when he rang me. And as soon as he rang me and he's like, do you want to play Kwame tomorrow? I was like, no, I'll play Kwame. So everything worked out well, and now I'll pass you on to the boss.
One thing straight there, I am not the boss. When I think of the journey of the black man, I think of in terms of when we go back to slavery. When the Europeans came to take the people from Africa, they had to break the strongest link, which was the black man. So when we arrived here, they beat that out of us. And many of our women watched that. And so coming 400 years later, or 500 years later on, you can understand why we've been living under suppression. Because all of us feel as though we can't speak or exploit ourselves because of what we've had to endure, and it's been in our genes for so long. So what this group is trying to do, or what we're trying to do, is get it out of our system. And also I have to give a round of applause to the women who have carried that heavy load for so long, but your men are back on track now. So it's important that we have groups like this, not just men group, but also women group, and at some point we come together and have that discussion, because that's important. We've been separated for far too long. It's about time we come together again. Anyway, before I went into that speech, my name is Shaka. And I just wanted to say that because I've been working with Tony now for about 3 years, the first inception of this whole idea, and I've thoroughly enjoyed the journey. And what I just said to you is what I've kind of formulated in my head over the last few weeks, is that the reason why I do this is because I want my children to grow up in a better world, and I want them to be able to express themselves, whether they're boys or girls, express themselves and have a better understanding of life, and not to be judged by the colour of their skin, as Martin Luther King, by the contents of their hearts. And all of us have good hearts, and we need to find those hearts. That's what I need to say. Thank you.
The baseline is, there's claims that as men we either run the world or that we can't be emotional, as that would be weak. However, there's still the fact of our vulnerability. How do we reconcile these two claims?
Okay. For me, my personal theory sounds pretty basic, but a lot of what is perpetuated by the motion of what we see and how we behave is through our entertainment. It's not necessarily through the knowledge which we learn. So for me, it's a theory of less entertainment, more knowledge within the entertainment, in terms of when you're learning something, it's making your brain do something. Instead of us trying to take what we see already and say, well, he did this, so I'm going to do this. It's about instilling creativeness, this is just my opinion, instilling creativeness within the next generation, and also doing silly things like phoning your parents, or for a lot of people I say, because I say this to a lot of young guys, phone your dad and mess up his head and say, Dad, I love you, and then put the phone down. Because for a lot of people, for a lot of black males, I've noticed it's this thing of like, you have the strength to assault another person, but you don't have the strength to embrace yourself. And I think a lot of it's to do with, have like 1 week where you don't watch TV and you're phoning people that you know and you're just like, hey, do you know I love you? Put the phone down. That's what I've started to do, where like, we all follow a narrative where it's like you say, oh, I hate the way that someone always does this, someone always does this. Check if you can, like I was saying to Lloyd, put your socks on before you put your pants on. Because we spent a long time putting your pants on and you're used to doing it. You're used to doing it. I'm not going to walk in here because there's not enough black people. You're used to doing it. You're used to doing it. You've got to do small, I think it's like small increments to change the way that the mind works. Because if you take something away, like if you smoke cigarettes and you just take that away from the person, the brain will start to do things which you don't realize you're shouting at your best friend or your partner, or all of a sudden you're just being an a-hole. So for me, a lot of the things comes from baby steps, doing small things to change each day, because we can't change next week because nobody's in next week. We're in today. So for me, as a person who suffers from social ideation, I have to deal with it day by day. So that's, I don't know if that answers the question or not.
Can I? It's a very interesting question, because I always say you have to be reflective as an individual in our society that we live in. We can't take on board that what is written about us. We have to do the writing ourselves. And I also believe that, I'm looking at these two beautiful young ladies here, they're the future. And so we are the role models to these children here, whether they're blood related or not. So how we act and how we speak to our elders, our children, is so important. And that will, for me, because I've got 3 kids, and I say to them all the time, I am your role model, not the person on TV. I don't believe in things like Father Christmas because I go out and buy the presents. That's the reality. So I'm just saying, in regards to your question, we have to sort of be very reflective. Well, you don't have to do anything, but I'm very reflective of how I behave, how I act in public. And I give the nod to the black brothers and sisters out in the streets, whether they like it or not. I don't get it back all the time, but I do get it most of the time. And that's being respected to other people as well around you. And it starts there. And the social media will always find something will always find something to bring it down. It's been going on for centuries. They're not going to change now. It's up to us to say, okay, enough is enough. I'm going to do the narrative on this one.
And I don't know if I speak on behalf of some of my sisters here, what could we do in order to provide more support and awareness, in terms of mental health for our black men?
Complex question once again. In terms of a black male going through a mental breakdown or something which is traumatic, I would say that we're all different. We all want different things which, for want of a better word, may trigger us or put us in a negative place. So I wouldn't say that there's literally one answer for every black man in terms of who are here in the UK. For me, it took someone to take me to a public place, sit down with me, and spend 3 hours talking to me. The first 2 hours was a waste of time. He was just trying to reach me as an individual. Now, a lot of the time, most of us will just get up and go, "Bad you, bruv. I don't want to hear what you've got to say, because you don't know what I'm going through." And it comes back to that thing where we have this problem with the inability to actually express what we're going through. So I would say, for me as a theory, it'd be like checking in on a person every other week, or if it's a person that you're very in close contact with, just every so often be like, "You alright? Is the sun shining out of your head or your bum today?" Because for me, I use a lot of humour, because when we're stressed, when we're angry, like I've had friends who want to fight somebody, and I said, "If you're going to fight them, you're going to have to pull down your trousers first." And he goes, "What are you talking about?" I guess, "Because you're going to get nicked, bruv. Saturday night, can't be doing that." You have to change the way that well, for me, I've had to change the way that I speak to other human beings. So when you say something, it creates a different feeling. Because sometimes when people say to you, "How are you?" What do you mean, how I am? What do you want to know for? What do you want from me? What do you even care? So it's about how we speak to one another, because we're so hell-bent on words meaning something. Because I get a lot of arguments. I'm born and raised in Brixton, Lambeth, went to Loughborough School, but I speak very well. And a lot of people, when I speak to them as friends and stuff, they'll be like, "What, man thinks he's better than me?" I'm like, "No, bro, I'm actually talking to you. But I'm talking with clarity." And because they're not used to that, and they're used to having white males speak to them like this, they get on their high horse and they think that I'm doing something wrong. So for me, it's about communicating with that individual, and then also communicating in a way where you're both feeling okay. It's not a case of, because you can say to someone, "Look, I'm not trying to be rude or disrespectful," but then already with that sentence, they've already got their back up. So I'd say it's about trying to find another way to talk through the trauma that they're going through. Even if it's like you've got to take them to somewhere where they went when they were a child, you sit down and have an apple. Do you remember we used to be like that? And then you go into the conversation.
I think tonight went very well. It was very interactive. I love the way the actors depicted the whole story. The storyline was very realistic, and I think this should be continuing and having more type of plays like this where it's interactive with the audience, and the audience could give their input and also change the narrative, because a lot of times we always have one set of perception, but once we give another option or we hear from somebody else's other perception, it helps us to change our narratives. Thank you.
And what is there anything you think you've taken away from tonight?
What I've taken about tonight is that information is always key and important, and communication is not the key; is the comprehension of the communication. And therefore, once we have the comprehension of the narrative, then it helps us to be more effective in our own lives and how we carry on with our day-to-day.
Emotional, honest, true, very insightful.
I think the actors, all of it was, I mean, it was improv, wasn't it? It was absolutely amazing. I also think that it was very interactive in terms of the audience and the actors. And also I absolutely love the point of resolution as to you could pick a part and say which part could you have done differently and then act it out, which means everything to do with the play had intention. And the intention was for the black man to heal and be better. So I absolutely loved it. Absolutely brilliant night. What I took away from it is I think I got a big insight as to the fact that the black family in the beginning actually needs a lot of support in itself, because the relationship between granddad and dad is not just the relationship between them only. It is the beginning of the son's family, and the granddad, that's his family, and that's Kwame's beginning as well. So however we begin our families or how we continue as families has a knock-on effect in all the relationships that will follow in the line of that family. So if there are issues, there are alternative ways of resolving that, and therapy is really, really important. Therapy is, I think, the most important thing for families, for black families to embrace. That's what I came away with.
I thought it was absolutely fantastic. A really, really great evening, family evening. I learned so much, and it wasn't an educational way in terms of a book reading. It was a lived experience. It was vibes. It was fun. It was serious. You know, we discussed some really heartfelt topics that we don't get to discuss all the time, especially in our community. So I'm so glad to see black men on a stage discussing how they feel, talking about pertinent issues to the current modern climate. So yeah, I'd highly recommend it. A really good evening.
I got invited from my sister because she knows one of the actors on the stage who played Grandad, and I thought it was amazing. And I've watched it before. I watched it when they were at Brixton, so this is actually my second time watching it. And despite being my second time, it was different. And I think obviously it's that novelty of it being improv which made it better. And then from that now, I think the bit that they added at the end with the actual sectioning of the young man because he didn't want to take his meds, I think that was really powerful, because that's something that a lot of people don't know. My mum is a social worker, and she was saying to me and my friends that I brought tonight, and she was saying to them that does happen. And actually, you lot even downplayed it. It's a lot more violent than that. And it's something that we, as a community, we don't know. I can't even say we as a community, I have to say people. People don't know that. But why would you? If my mum wasn't a social worker, I wouldn't know that. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't know a lot about the mental health system and stuff like that. And I think it was fantastic for people to see that. It's fantastic for us, even for me to see that, and my mum to give that insight, because she even gave it from a professional level on, you know, he was a bit agitated, so maybe you should, and well, what could he have done better? And it's very interesting to see different point of views, and even hearing my friends' point of views, because they've never been to something like this. So yeah, I loved it. I thought it was absolutely fantastic.
Coming to perform in front of an audience and to talk about subjects which are taboo subjects is really powerful, and I'm pleased that we opened at an open debate and people asked us questions about real life scenarios that have affected. It's not about black men, but it's about men in general, or even just families, because there are a lot of things that people don't talk about. Mental health affects 1 in 3 people, and define mental health. Define people say, oh, I'm depressed. Define it. We're all human. We all bleed the same, from the same blood. But we don't talk about mental health, and it should be spoken about. Suicide ideations affect so many people, especially so many men, and actually suicide in young men is rife, especially young black men. Whether you're incarcerated or just in general, because you're kind of the lost sheep. When black men who are homeless, they're told to look after themselves. They're not given shelter or accommodation, which I think is appalling, especially when black men have children to look after and care for. So there are many different scenarios. Prostate cancer, another taboo subject, because people think that they don't want somebody violating their body, so they'd rather die. And it's not that intrusive. Yes, they may have to have an internal a procedure, but if that little thing takes about no more than 2 minutes, can save someone's life, then go for it. And half the time, it's just a blood test every year. So we touch on certain scenarios that people shun upon, that are brushed under the carpet. And tonight, people one person spoke about his own personal experiences of being sectioned twice. Now, he didn't have to share that with us. He felt the need to share that with us because of what we did live on this stage. And everything we do is from the heart. It's not scripted. It's either affected us personally, either family members or people that we know. And so, to me, it's job done.
Okay, so as one of the leaders of the Fathers Forum, I found tonight being really, really good. It was effective in terms of bringing home the message of how mental health issues can affect our community. And it allowed us to explore how different people deal with their mental health challenges and how they preserve that sense of well-being in their day-to-day lives. I like the way that the audience was given the opportunity to engage with the actors and to take different elements of the performance and actually say how they would have liked it to turn out or how they would have done things differently. And that just allowed us to really explore things from a different angle, seeing it from someone else's standpoint and the relevance that can have to our own lives and how we can apply, we can push back, we can pull, we can grab things that really feel like it's relevant to us and we should hold on to it. I can honestly say that all the men that were involved in that play were so effective, they were so impactful, they were so genuine and so sincere, and it was really nice to know that some of their real stories, their real life experiences were shared or were placed within that play that we could get a taste of it. So that's what I believe added to the authentic feeling that we were able to get from beginning to end. And I leave here this evening feeling touched, feeling inspired and feeling obliged, feeling obligated to do my part to help make positive spaces for men of colour. So I just want to say thank you to Tony Seeley and the Black Men's Consortium for everything that they've been doing in our communities, and we'll continue to support them.